Welcome back to another episode of Saline Speaks. I'm Chase Stanton, the station manager here at SCTN, and today I'm joined by Peter Rufener, who oversees kind of the mentors and some of the things going on at Fifth Corner.
Yep.
We're going to talk a little bit about your background and your involvement, but just a general overview of Fifth Corner for anyone who might not know. So,
very cool.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, it's good to be here. Very good.
And so, kind of, you were talking about you oversee mentors. What's that role involve?
Yeah, so the way that we're set up is we have college-age mentors that work with the students, kind of come alongside the students. So I kind of help oversee them, schedule them, work with them on connecting with the students. And then another key piece that I do is kind of give feedback back to the board, what's happening on a daily basis with the Fifth Corner. So really, in a lot of ways, a lot of go-between, working with the mentors, working with the board, that type of stuff.
And you've been with the Fifth Corner since the beginning?
Yep, since the very beginning. Back in, I think it was October of 2010, we launched it. Some key people like David Rhodes was very involved in the beginning part of the Fifth Corner and had a lot of other community people that kind of got it launched and off the ground in 2010, which is hard to believe that this October we'll be finishing our 7th year.
Wow, yeah, I feel like I'm going on my 6th year here, and it was a brand new thing that I was hearing about, so time flies.
Very cool.
And so for anyone who doesn't know, Fifth Corner, it was kind of modeled after the neutral zone in a way, right?
A little bit, yeah.
And so it's a space for middle school and some high school students to come after school, and kind of what are they doing there in terms of activities?
Yeah. Initially, we started when we opened in 2010, kind of gearing a lot towards middle school, but now that we have been around for 6.5 years, our middle schoolers have kind of grown up with us, so we see a mix of middle school and high school that come in. Our first part of our, I'd say our first 4 or 5 years primarily was a hangout place where students could just come and connect. We had computers that they could work on homework with, they could play games with. We have a lot of different things like air hockey and foosball, ping pong, karaoke, things for them to just kind of have fun. But that's kind of what we did in our first few years, was really focused on that. We would bring different programs in and maybe do like an art program or something like that, but primarily it's been up until about this last 1.5 years, been a real hangout place.
Great, great. And is the idea behind that just a place that kids can go so they're not just wandering and...
Yeah, well, it is a place, you know, we kind of have 3 things that we focus on. We want students to have a place where they can belong. It means a place where they can be known, you know, share their story, get to know one another, where mentors know their name and what's going on in their life. Those types of things, a place where they can grow. A lot of what we do on a regular basis is very relational oriented, social oriented, so there's a lot of teachable moments, dealing with conflict and how to relate and how to show respect to one another that we work with the students on. And then the last piece is kind of a leading piece. We want to give these students an opportunity to really lead not only what's happening at the Fifth Corner, but what's happening in the community. And so we work really hard to have their voice in what is taking place be known. So we get feedback, we get input. We want them to be driving the things that are happening around the Fifth Corner and be really involved in speaking into them. So it's not, in essence, an adult thing that's saying, hey, here's what you do, but rather working with the students to help them create that environment for themselves, which is a cool adventure to see these students to really develop and lead and do some cool things that way.
Wow. And so is that kind of where the main focus of having college-age mentors comes in, that they're at that level, they're adults, but they can relate to students?
We started back in 2010. Our first couple years were, we had parents coming in or adults coming in, which those adults just gave, I mean, they made it possible for us to start. We were a young nonprofit, a young entity, and we didn't have a lot of money in the bank, and so they made it possible for us to really make things happen. However, the fact is they work long days, and then they're coming on a Friday night,
Yeah.
and that can be a lot, especially as we have a lot of young, energetic students running around having a great time. So about 3.5 years ago, we wrote a grant and got a grant out of a group in Ann Arbor Area Youth Community Foundation, supported us to bring on mentors and to start to pay mentors. And they gave us a chunk of money to get that started, and that has gone so well that we've, now that we're a little bit older, have been working on raising money to continue to that. So those college age are closer in age, and it's going into something, they're getting a practicum of something they're going into. They're youth related, so it's been a really cool thing. Our mentors right now just do an incredible job with the students relating, but also that fine line of relating, but also being a leader and kind of guiding, and I think they do a great job with that.
Wow. And so these are people who might have a background or are going into a field like teaching or something like that, that it's funneling in that interest.
Teaching, social work, things of that nature. So we have full-time, when I say full-time, paid mentors, but then we also have, we built a relationship with Concordia University, where we have 1 to 2 of their college students that come down, and they're going in youth-related fields, and so they do like a practicum where they have to get in 140 hours. And so they kind of come alongside our regular mentors and assist them in working with the students.
Very cool. And I was talking with you before the show, I got the chance to interview a couple at the e-waste event, and they just seemed so passionate and interested in it. So
yeah, it's a good group of mentors. They do a good job just connecting with the students.
Great. So just kind of logistically, for someone who doesn't know, kind of what are the days students can come, hours, things like that?
So during the school year, we run Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right after school. On Wednesday and Thursday, we have a bus that picks up students at the middle school, brings them right to the door of the Fifth Corner. So they arrive maybe a little bit after 3:15, and they're there till 6 on Wednesday and Thursday. Friday we go a little bit later. We're open till 8. Every so often we do some late night ones, but that's kind of our schedule. Now when we go to the summer, we stick to those same 3 days. We just push the hours back, and we open maybe like a 5:30, 6 type time, and then close around 9:30.
Oh wow.
It's kind of the setup.
Yeah. And you already mentioned some of the things that kids can do there, but I mean, you guys have pretty much everything. There's a whole stage with instruments, there's games, board games, everything. Yeah,
there's a lot for them to do. We've got the park right next door, so we go out and do activities in the park. So when it's great days, beautiful days, we're out there running around, doing things out there, but a lot of things for them to do. Also inside the building to just hang out and connect with one another.
And so you mentioned you're a nonprofit group. If someone was interested in helping, getting involved, what would be the process that they could do that, or some different ways?
Yeah, I mean, we're always looking for people who are interested in being part of what we're doing. And so that looks like people that may want to invest time. There's different events where they can connect into, or people that want to invest finances or resources, and you can go on the website and there's a place to donate or do a recurring donation. But if you're interested in either of those, or we just want to know more about the Fifth Corner, probably email is the best. I think our email's up on our website. You can email, say, hey, I just want to know more, I want to get together, or maybe you have certain questions about it that we can answer that maybe you don't get off of the website that you want to ask about. I mean, we love that. Having conversations about what's happening at the Fifth Corner is a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. And do you feel like maybe some people in the community know about the Fifth Corner but don't really know all that's going on there?
I think that's probably one of our biggest challenges, being a young nonprofit in a community where there's so much stuff going on. I mean, there's all kinds of options. So really what we've been working towards is trying to get the word out. And I would say on it that we haven't done the best job in the past, but that's really kind of front and center right now of how do we communicate, how do we get that information out there, because usually what we hear is when people start to find out about it, they're like, man, this is a pretty cool place, we want to know more about it, or they'll say, we didn't know anything about it, tell us more. So that's kind of been a key piece for that, is trying to get that word out in a community where there's just all kinds of great things happening.
Yeah, it's hard to keep track of everything.
It is, it is.
And for anyone who doesn't know, you're just right down the road from downtown.
We are.
Yeah, so you're...
We are, just right south of downtown at the corner of Willis and South Ann Arbor Street, right there on the corner.
Wow, yeah. Is there anything we haven't talked about, or anything you'd want to get out for people to know about Fifth Corner?
Sure. Yeah, you know, a couple things that we've seen in the last, I think I mentioned to you that initially we started off as being a hangout place, and that has never been our ultimate goal, even though it's been a good goal. One of our goals is to really create opportunities for students to lead. And so about 2-3 years ago, we went through a process as a board, really kind of refining. We had an outside entity come in. It was a new foundation out of Ann Arbor. They came in, they work with young nonprofits, and they began to work with us and to really kind of hone in what we're about, what we're doing. And it was a tough process, but a good process for us. And we've been able to bring on some board members, just have been key. I mean, we've got some, Pat Carmody, who's an attorney in town, is a president of our board. Brad Bizu, who's at the middle school, is a vice president. We've got Karen Core and Carrie Wilson, who's a parent in the community, so is Karen. On our board, Dave Ringe. Officer Dave's been with us actually since the start.
Oh, wow.
Been a key part of the board. Jason Kerrigan, who is involved in downtown stuff, is with us. Then Laura Washington and Emily Sickler. I mean, we just got some good people that are investing into this. So that's been a key part, has been just people who are networking for the Fifth Corner and want to see this place succeed. So we really are excited about that. And with that has come more movement into the leadership piece. So last year we started out, you're familiar with the Saline Leadership Institute?
Yeah.
So out of that really was birthed the Fifth Corner. And so that was where we got our start, was in the midst of the conversations when I went through Saline Leadership about 8 years ago, is where that got birthed out of. And we began to just talk about this, this place that we wanted to create to help them belong, grow, and lead. And so in that, some key things that we did is we kind of took a little bit of that model of the Saline Leadership Institute and put it into the world of middle schoolers. So this year we finished our first Step Up Leadership Academy, where about 25 middle schoolers came once a month and hung out at the Fifth Corner and had experts from the community come in and just pour into them about different areas. And it was just an amazing experience. And we saw them stick with that, and actually just finished our last session, which was really cool to see these students grow and develop. We also just finished up the first of 2 classes, 8-week classes that we did particularly for middle school girls. For coding. And so we brought, I think it's Game Start School out of Ann Arbor, came in, and they did about 90 minutes of teaching these girls how to code through using Minecraft. A lot of fun. They brought 20 laptops in and did this. And then the last half an hour, or I think it was the first half an hour, we had women from the community that have been successful in their fields kind of come in and just have some conversations with these girls and build relationship and help them to kind of get a picture into what's going on as they grow and develop. So that was a really cool thing that Deb Bro was part of leading that. And then right now we're on the edge of putting together a job training program. We're waiting to hear back on some grants that we've written for. So what we're looking to do is over the next 2 years with about 40 students, kind of in 4 different sessions, wanting to kind of train and equip them for their first job.
Wow.
So we want to be able to do some training where talking about work ethic and and customer service. I think
Yeah.
our students, I mean, are incredible with technology, but really helping them on how to have eye-to-eye
Yeah.
face conversations, and so we're going to work on that piece. And then our goal is to partner with local businesses and to give our students about 10 hours of work experience where they go through an actual interview. And so they're doing an interview with an actual employer, and then at the end of that interview, the employer just kind of coaches them. Hey, these are some things that you said real well. Hey, I'd think about maybe not saying that or saying it that way.
Yeah.
Just teaching them some of those skills, and then where they would maybe get 8 to 10 hours working at that job, kind of being coached by that employer, so that the goal is when they walk into their first job, that they're prepared and they're ready. Because when you think about it, so a lot of the jobs maybe 20, 30 years ago, like mowing yards and delivering papers or bagging groceries, are just not there.
Yeah.
And so we really think there's a great opportunity for the Fifth Corner to pour into the students so they walk into their first job and they are just light years ahead. It's a way for us to build some good connections in the community with businesses, and so we're excited about that. That's a piece right now that's developing,
Yeah.
and hopefully we're going to be able to move into, I think it's the spring of 2018. So that's another thing people get involved. We're looking for people that say, hey, I want to be part of that. I want to be part of helping a student walk into their first job, being ready, and maybe even some businesses within our community that would be willing, and it would be a cost of investment on their end, but would be willing to pour into those students as they work. And the one grant that we actually applied for, that student would finish it and actually get a stipend of about $100.
Hey.
And just saying, hey, this is for your hard work, you've done great. And so when they walk into that first job, they're ready, ready to go.
Yeah, that's some exciting stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, a lot happening.
Very exciting about kind of a shifting that's been happening from place for students to hang out that we love, but now moving into this place of developing leaders and really trying to help them with some skills as they walk into their first jobs. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that's very exciting.
Yeah.
Well, and we talked about this just a little bit earlier, but you mentioned the website, so if anyone wants to check out all the things going on, what's the website?
It's just www.fifthcorner.org.
That's easy enough.
It is easy enough.
Well, I really appreciate you coming in, and hopefully people get a little bit better sense of everything going on. It's not just, a place kids go hang out.
Yeah.
So thank you again for coming in.
Thank you, Chase.
Yeah.